Hello everyone and welcome back on this SPL 8 review that I'm making. This time around I'll show my game against Shoka from the Firebird Falcons. As for the context of this game, our team had just lost to the first week against the Team Raiders and the score was up 4-3 for us against the Firebird Falcons. Without further ado, I'll move to the team building. So, about the team. This week against Shoka, I knew I wanted to use Specs Caldio. Well, I had a hard time deciding on a team, but at the end, I decided to settle on Specs Caldio in Rain in particular. I haven't seen many good teams with these two in a common, because Caldio usually fits Sand a lot better. Like Politoad and Caldio have the same checks, the same counters, they have the same weaknesses too. It's not the case with Tyranitar, and Tyranitar provides pursuit support for Caldio to remove the like of Jellicent, Lati, Charmy, Slowking, etc. But I decided to go with Rain because I just wanted to spam Hydro Pump in Rain. It's really very strong and it's a nice win condition in general. So I went with that. And I used this team that you can see above. It's an old team I got from Remedy years ago when I was playing in the Black and White Cup in the first Classic. And I liked it ever since. So I just made some modifications for the game and I decided to go with it. So about the Pokemon in particular. First thing we have Caldio. Nothing too original about it, I guess, like nothing too out of the ordinary. Regarding the moveset, I decided to go with only one once removed because I wanted all the coverage I could get. And I decided to use Hydro Pump because it's just much stronger. And for reference, it can 2 KOs full special defense Among Us with rocks 50% of the time under rain, which shows the power of Hydro Pump at the cost of real ability, I guess. And I decided to go with Hidden Progress. It was the last minute modification that I made. I originally had HP Ghost on this team. It's good on Caldio to hit most of its checks. But HP Grass, all of them too, besides Celebi. Like you hit Jason, Stormy, Slowking. You don't hit Celebis and Lati. You have Icy Wind for Lati anyway. And regarding HP Grass, you have that move that can one-shot Grass Storm, which is kind of a problem for the team. It can absorb Hydro Pump from Caldio. So if you can remove it out of the picture entirely, it's really good. So next up we have Politoad, like staple for rain teams, you don't have any other option. I decided to go with a Scarf moveset because I thought it was the best fit in this team. Like I could have used it on Tudorus or Garchomp, but I had better plans for these two, and I'll explain later. So not a big fan of Scarf Toad in general, but I mean it's alright. It outspeeds Alakazam and Dragonite. Scarf Anchor is really good late game to prevent setup, so that's fine. I went with dual water moves called Hydro Pump, so I can have something accurate and something stronger. I would recommend, if you use this team or Scarf Politoad in general, you can use Agnosis on it if you don't have another Sleep move on the team, because Sleep is just too good in Black and White and it's hard to pass up, but it's really not reliable at all, especially on Scarf Politoad. So next up, we have Tentacruel. It's the little bit, like it's the piece of originality in the team because it's an offensive Tentacruel, something you don't see very often. I just, like, when Remedy originally gave me the team, their offensive Tentacruel was on it, and every time I used it, it was pretty good, so I never thought about removing it. Although, to be fair, Stormy is it's kind of better, like you have almost the same typing, you hit stronger, you are faster too. But Tentacruel has some things going for it. The biggest one is obviously the surprise factor, like you can outspeed stuff that won't expect it, and you have a much stronger damage output. Also, most people won't expect Ice Beam or Giga Drain, so you can nab something like Dragonite or even Garchomp with it, as they try to set up. Also, here we have Giga Drain that I just mentioned. Pretty cool to kill Gastrodon. You don't kill it, but You remove a good chunk and they usually won't recover, and then you open the way for Tornadoes or Caldeo. Also regarding the spread, I have enough speed for Mama Sign and everything below. You can adjust it to your preference, just something I like. Also I want Modest because even with Modest you can see the special attack isn't that great, so you want all the power you can get. Next up, Tundurus Tyrian, pretty cool fit in the team. The main reason I have Tundurus Tyrian is that it's like when I use Rain, I always want Pokemon that can break fat sands and fat teams in general, because you're usually pretty well equipped for offense. Like in this case, Caldeo just can straight up destroy offense. So against Sand, you don't want to give them too much room to play around you, and Tundurus helps in that factor. Electric, Ice, and Fight coverage in general is really good in Black and White. There aren't many Pokemon that get stop it outright. Everything is in danger, and like beside Gastrodon, will get U-turned on. That's why I have U-turn and not Boss Rage, by the way, so I can be stopped in my track. And if it comes down to it, it can also hit Celebi, which like I wouldn't expect to face a special defense Celebi because it's bad in the metagame and not going in general, but just in case I face it, I can U-turn and do like more than half, which can be useful. Thunder for maximum damage, everything. Expert Belt, you get more damages out of the hit you hit respectively, and it can hide the Choice Scarf, so always good. I always like this possibility to lure my opponent if needed. Next up, Fear Thorn, another rain staple in general. Like, it's one of the main rain abuser, not offensively, but defensively it just never dies in the rain. It's really good. Also Dragon Switch in, all that jazz. Nothing out of the unusual. I decided to go with both Pro Whip and Gyro Ball because I never want to be... like, in this team, it's the main pivot, and I don't want some Pokemons to abuse it. Like, I wouldn't want to face a Dragon with only Pro Whip. So that's why I have both offensive moves and rocks. Nothing too special. Then last we have Garchomp, the best Pokemon Black and White OU by far, in my opinion. Added him here for one main reason. It's that I can break a fatter team with it. Like Tundurus already helps, but it doesn't set up and it can be blocked. While Garchomp can unlock some situations. I can break teams apart, so I can establish win conditions with my other Pokemons. Aqua Tail in Rain is really good. It can flat out beat Landorus, and it will outdamage even the bulkier of Skarmories in general. So really good moves in it. So, with that coverage, there is nothing much blocking you. Dragon Claw, so I wouldn't lock myself in a trade. And if I'm in Rain, I can just use Aqua Tail against most Dragon Claw targets. I decided to go with Lumberry. Honestly, the item is up to preference because there are so many good options on SD Charm between Focus Sash, Yakiberry, Dragon Gem, everything. I really like Lumberry because you can be stopped in your track by your status, and you can also set up on weak Scald users like Bulky Stormy, Tentacruel, or Jellicent, and not fear a potential burn that would otherwise stop you. So yeah. With that being said, let's move on to the game. So let's get started on the game itself. Looking at team preview, I see a lot of things that please me. The first thing is he has no wither, so as soon as I get my raid up, I can keep it for all my abusers for the rest of the game. Second thing I notice that I like is that his water checks aren't really too solid. Rotom is easily to kill by Secret Sword and Hydro Pump under raid. Dragonite isn't an issue as long as I break the move to scale or keep the rocks up. And then there is Series Toad, who would otherwise absorb water attacks with water absorbs, but I have HP Grass on both Caldeo and Giga Drain on Tentacruel, so I knew it was gonna be nice. Series Toad is not something you see a lot in Black and White. I'll just explain what it does really quick. It has a water absorb, so it can check some rain sweepers like Caldeo and Tentacruel, and unlike Gastrodon, it can get the rocks up. So it has that niche of checking of every water absorb and getting Stealth Rock at the same time. So Elite Rotom, pretty standard lead for a lot of people who like to use Rotom because it's just super safe early game, it's hard to one-shot, and it can spread burn and then Volt Switch for momentum. I got Tentar personally because, honestly, he hasn't really much for it. I can even surprise Landorus early, or even Excadrill, if it's Adamant. Just like I liked the matchup for Tentar, and I can weaken a Rotom right off the bat with Giga Drain. I get a bit lucky the first 2 turns, he missed a Will-O-Wisp, and then I get a crit as the Will-O-Wisp again, so because of this sequence he didn't get to Pain Split, and now the Rotom is already done at 20, which means it doesn't check anything on the team anymore, and he can't recover, because he's slower than everything besides the Ferrothorn, will just power it. So that's already one water check out of the window. He then switched to Dragonite. As I Giga Drain again, I had the reason not to. And crucial information already, I see its leftovers. Most leftovers D-Knight in black and white are sub-DD, but in this team it doesn't really make sense because it needs Magnezone support for Skarmory. So I know it's gonna be something utility, like, I don't know exactly what it's gonna be. It could actually be DD Fire Punch. Or it's some utility, DD Fire Punch boost, it's something, it's a thing. Or it's just some utility D-Knight with just bulk and moves to retaliate. Nothing too crazy. So I go Politoed here for 2 reasons. The first one is I get my rain up, which I wanted immediately. The second one is that the only things that could be threatening at this point is DD Fire Punch Roost. And if he DDs on the switch, I can Anchor and keep it under check. So Hurricane, gets a fusion, not a big deal. I got my rain up anyway, and I got to squeeze this set. I got Thundurus because I don't risk much against D-Knight. And he switch out. Normal, he doesn't want to get it weakened or get his multi-scale broken, and I abused that by U-turning right away, especially because it was pretty safe to go Seismitoad for him. So expecting the Seismitoad, I can U-turn and get the momentum. Which means I also get to put my rocks with Ferrothorn on the Seismitoad, and that's already a pretty big deal because while rocks are up, the Dragonite, as soon as I'll get him to switch out, will have a multi-scale broken next time he gets in. Which means it won't it won't tank an HP Ice for Thundurus and Ice Beam for Tentacruel, or it won't tank well Hydro Pump for Keldeo either, it can't switch it. So I stay in and I Leech Seed. 2 reasons for the Leech Seed. The first one is that he can kill me, he can feature me under rain, and I also remove his multi-scale right off the bat while I get some health back. I stay in because I didn't fear, Hurricane did nothing with Leech Seed. He reveals Fire Blast, pretty read set to be fair, Fire Blast Hurricane without Transport, not something I would use for sure. But it works out for him as I brought rain myself. So I just Geoballed here because, once again, nothing he could really switch on the Ferrothorn, especially with Rocks Up. So Rotom isn't safe anymore, isn't safe either. I get some chugs back, and then I expect a Roost. So I go to Roost, he goes Hurricane, not a big deal, it was pretty safe move for me. Because even if he roosts, he doesn't have doesn't get his multi-scale back. But if he attacks, he can't kill Thundurus either. So he attacks, it's fine. Dragon is already at 18%, which means the only thing standing in Keldeo's way, or even is Seismitoad, which I can nab with HP Grass. So I had on Power for 2 reasons. The first one is if he stays in, because the Dragonite was already at 18, so I thought he could sack it. I killed the Dragonite. And then, if he switches in something, he will see that I don't have leftovers or life orb. So he might think I'm Scarf, and then I can surprise kill something. I could surprise the Excadrill with Focus Blast, or the Jirachi with Thunder. He goes straight to Seismitoad instead. Not a big deal, once again. So you might wonder here why I didn't U-turn, which was safe and I could get some chip damage. And the reason why is I wanna make him think I'm locked on a Hidden Power, and that I'm a Choice Scarf Variant or even something else. So I just switch out because the Use on chip wouldn't really be useful anyway. As I expect stealth swap, I go straight to Tentacle because I don't want the rocks up on my side. And he has to leave, he has to switch out anyway because he needs the 6 meters for Hydro Pump, and he feels Giga Drain at this point. So I just spin right away, getting the rocks up so Tundurus can switch in more easily later in the game. And he got Jirachi. And as you can see here, the Jirachi doesn't have leftovers, which means it's probably, like, I'm pretty sure it's Scarf at this point. The reason why, the only Jirachi set that doesn't run Scarf is Shoka Berry, and in Black and White, most Shoka Berry are Stealth Walk. But since he has Stealth Walk on 6 method, it's probably choice Scarf like Jirachi. And his Landorus is probably, it's probably some offensive Landorus. I'd say Gravity or Rock Polish or both, and that's something I expected from Shoka too. Like, I know he likes that offensive Landorus set. So Scratch Jirachi, not a trade for Tentacle at all. I just stay in, he tricks, and I drop pump. Pretty good turn for me, because now the Tundurus is the Jirachi losing its Scarf. I mean, it's lower than Tundurus. Tundurus now outspeed the whole team, and it can't even pull shenanigans against Garchomp. It's lower than Garchomp too, and it's lower than than everything. And I got so much damage on it that it can't check anything either. So at this point, what do? I could stay in, but since I'm locked on Hydro Pump because of the choice card, I just go Keldeo, because Keldeo is super safe against this Jirachi. It can't do anything. I can go Keldeo, and then I twitch on everything on his team besides hit methods that I can nab with HP Grass, like I said earlier. The thing is, it doubled to 6 method as I go Keldeo, and at this point, I know, you probably don't expect HP Grass. And he might think it's Scarf, he doesn't know the set, he doesn't know it's HP Grass, and he can't switch on anything either, because everything is too weakened or just weak to Hydro Pump. So I just decide to take this turn to reveal the HP Grass, and I get it. So I get the kill on 6 method. At this point, I know the game can be played on autopilot kind of, because Garchomp wins, Garchomp just kills everything. Keldeo can win if I don't miss a single H-Pump, but I wouldn't rely on it if possible, but it's a win condition too. Tundurus outspeeds everything and win too. So I have so many win conditions that I can just go on autopilot, which means keeping the rocks up so Dragonite doesn't go back at full. So he goes Excelsior here, I'm locked, so I just go straight for Thorn because I can get the rocks up as soon as the spin. And if he was correct instead and kill the Ferrothorn, I'd still get the rocks up, and I just can go Garchomp, Aquatail the Excelsior and win the game. So anyway, he spun instead, I got the rocks back with Ferrothorn, he go Dragonite on the predicted rocks, and I can just keep using Gyro Ball so it doesn't get health back. And even if in the case that he doesn't roost and decide to kill the Ferrothorn instead, the Dragonite will be very low on health, and it doesn't have multi-scale, so I can just kill it with Tundurus or Garchomp. At this point, I value Garchomp and Keldeo more than Tundurus, for the record. So I just keep Gyro Ball in. I start to realize that he gets a bit of health back between Roost and Leftovers, and Gyro Ball only has 8 PPs. So noticing his pattern of spamming Roost, I decide on the next turn to just go straight to Tundurus, because if he Roost, Tundurus can win, and if he doesn't and kill Tundurus, I just go Chomp instead and win from that point too, or Keldeo. So he Roosts, he dies to HP as he stays in, doesn't have much choice anyway, and since I still didn't show that I was scarfed, I expected him to go Excelsior and try something, but then I would just use Focus Blast, and if it hit, I won. And even if it didn't hit, I would still probably win with Garchomp or Keldeo unless insane bad luck. He decides to forfeit instead, he knows at this point it's too hard for him to come back. I have too much options, and that closes the game. So yeah, pretty good win, first of this SPL, and we ended up winning this week too, so I was pretty happy with myself. Pretty glad too of the last minute change on Keldeo, which turned out to be really clutch. So hope you guys enjoyed this game. As usual, if you have any questions or anything you want to say, I appreciate all feedback, and just drop your question in the comment section or on my McMeghan profile. Until next time, see you.